Hello students, it's Nazia Begum here, your physics lecturer, welcoming you all in today's lecture. Today we are going to start Unit 3rd Part B, which is actually Chapter 5 in your course syllabus, okay? And the name of the chapter is Magnetism and Matter. This chapter is also very lengthy, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are not able to conduct the offline classes, okay? So that's why in online classes some topics has been removed, and that's why the chapter becomes very small. So in this chapter we are going to discuss mainly 5 topics, okay? And if at last, after completing the whole syllabus, if we will have time, then I will tell you whatever omitted topic is there, okay? For this year only that topics are omitted, but for your higher studies they are also equally important. So if after completing the whole syllabus, total 15 chapters, if we will have time, then I will tell you all the topics which are omitted for this year only. So first let's discuss some basic properties of a magnet. Every magnet, irrespective of its shape, has two poles, a north pole and a south pole. These poles can never be separated. If one substance is a magnet, it is always having two poles, whatever its shape and size may be. Okay? The end of a freely suspended magnet, which points towards geographic north, is called the north or N pole, and the other end facing geographic south is called the south or S pole. It was also found that like poles of two magnets repel and unlike poles attract each other. Now let me clear one thing here. See, generally in practice what we do, the end of magnet which is pointing towards geographical N pole of earth, we consider that as the N pole of magnet. But as we already know that like poles repel and unlike poles attract. That's why what happened? The north pole of earth will attract the south pole of magnet. Opposite attracts na. So here also the same rule will be there. The north pole of the earth will attract the south pole of the magnet. Okay. So south pole will direct it towards north pole of the earth. But to make it easy to understand, we consider that as N pole. But actually the N pole of magnet is the S pole. Are you understanding what I am saying? See, we have one rule of magnet that opposite attract and like poles repel. So the north pole of magnet will be repelled by north pole of earth, and south pole of magnet will be attracted by north pole of earth. Okay, so actually what happened, the pole which is directing towards north pole of earth is south pole. That actually is south pole, but when we study about magnet we consider that as N pole. So if it is pointing towards geographic N pole, we consider that end as N pole, okay, and other as S pole. So here you can see geographic north pole of the earth was actually its south magnetic pole, and the geographic south pole of the earth was its magnetic north pole. So that means the geographic poles and magnetic poles are opposite to each other. Then force between two magnetic poles is similar to the force between two electric charges. But the difference between them lies in the fact that while electric charges can be isolated, magnetic poles cannot be isolated. The magnetic monopoles do not exist. In second unit, we have studied about electric dipoles. Okay, one positive and one negative charge, they together make one dipole, but they can also be exist in individual form. Okay, only plus charge or only minus charge can also exist, but in case of magnet, separate poles cannot exist. It is not possible. They are always in form of a dipole, one north and one south pole. Okay, so this is the only difference. Other all things are same. Whatever things we have derived for electric dipole, the same terms, the same derivations are there for magnetic dipole as well, and that's why that topics are omitted this year, because they are similar to electric dipole only. So if one student understood electric dipoles clearly, they can study the magnetic dipoles by themselves. Okay, so that's why that topics are omitted, because they are same with the electric dipole one. About magnets and their properties we have already studied in younger classes, so very fast revision type study we will do here. So the property of magnet, first one, attractive property of the magnet. Second, directive property of the magnet, they always directed towards north and south pole. Third, two poles of a magnet are always of equal pole strength. Okay, north pole and south pole both are having the equal strength. Unlike poles attract and like poles repel each other, and the force of attraction or repulsion between two poles is given by this formula, F equals to K into M1 M2 upon R square, where M1 and M2 are the strength of the poles and R is the distance between them, and K is a proportionality constant. Fifth property, magnetic poles always exist in pairs and monopoles do not exist. So here in front of you one long magnet is there in which N and S pole is there. So if you cut the magnet in half from here, okay, so N pole and S pole will not get separated, but here another S pole and here another N pole will appear. Okay, if you cut it in more small pieces, then you can see each piece is having N and S pole. Okay, so whatever small the magnet is, it is always having north and south pole. Then magnetic field, the area surrounded by a magnet under which its magnetic force can be experienced by magnetic materials or magnets is called the magnetic field. It is denoted by capital B with a vector sign, because magnetic field is also having one direction, so it is a vector quantity. The intensity of the magnetic field at a point may be defined as the force experienced by a unit north pole kept at that point. Okay, so B, the intensity of magnetic field equals to force upon the strength of the north pole, or F equals to M into B. So force experienced in magnetic field is equals to M into B. Uniform and non-uniform magnetic fields. The magnetic field in a certain region is said to be uniform if it has the same magnitude and direction at all points in the region. For example, the magnetic field of Earth is fairly uniform over a wide area on Earth's surface. Second, the magnetic field between the flat parallel poles of a horseshoe magnet with a very small gap. Okay, so this is one horseshoe magnet. This is the N pole, this is the S pole, and the gap between them is very small. So that time you can see the direction of field lines, they are parallel to each other. Okay, so here the magnetic field can be considered as uniform. A uniform magnetic field can be represented by these three types. Okay, first, either you can draw parallel lines. Second, dots align in one line, or the cross. Okay, so these are the three methods to show the uniform magnetic field. Okay, so this line is showing the direction of magnetic field when the magnetic field is on the page, okay, like this, horizontal. If the magnetic field lines are coming out from the page, okay, that means the direction of magnetic field is like this, coming out from the page in upward direction. So that time it is denoted by the dotted lines. If the lines are coming out from the page in upward direction. If the lines are perpendicular to page but in downward direction, that means the magnetic field lines here are going down, okay, in downward direction they are going, so that time they are denoted by cross sign. Is it clear? This method is used when the magnetic field lines are on the page, okay, when they are coming out from the page in upward direction, and this is when they are coming out from the page in downward direction, okay. Now let's discuss about magnetic field lines. So magnetic field lines are the imaginary lines. First of all, they actually do not exist. A magnetic field due to a magnet, that is a magnetic dipole, is represented and visualized by lines in the same manner as an electric field due to an electric dipole. But there is a marked difference between the two fields. The electric field can be produced by isolated point charge, but the magnetic field will always be due to a magnetic dipole. It is because the poles of a magnet cannot be isolated. So what can be the definition of magnetic field lines? A magnetic field line may be defined as a path. So what basically they are? They are the path along which a compass needle aligns. In reality, they do not exist, as I have told you. It is purely an imaginary concept and give a visual and intuitive picture of the magnetic field. These lines due to a magnetic dipole such as a bar magnet or a solenoid can be drawn by using a compass needle. Now let's discuss some of their important properties which you have already discussed in class 10th as well. So first one is magnetic field lines are closed continuous loops which start and terminate now here. Outside the body of the magnet, they appear to come out from the north pole and enter the south pole, but inside they continue from the south to the north. So here you can see in this diagram that outside the direction of field line is from north to south, and inside the magnet they move from south to north, hence they form one loop. No two magnetic field lines can intersect each other. It is because if they do so, the magnetic field at that point would point in two directions, which is not possible. Next, crowding of these lines represent a stronger magnetic field and vice versa. That means if more and more field lines are present at one place close to each other, so there the magnetic strength is maximum, and where they are rarer apart from each other, okay, so there the magnetic field will be less. Then fifth one, the field lines in the state of tension, as a result they tend to contract longitudinally, okay. So these are the 5 properties of magnetic field lines which you by heart, because in examination in 1 mark question any point can be asked, and in conceptual problem while you solve the conceptual problem, that time also these properties will help you a lot. Then after omitting so many topics, our next topic is a current carrying loop as a magnetic dipole. So as we all know that when the current is moving, the electric field will be there, and when electric field is there, the magnetic field will also there. By Oersted experiment, due to electric field, magnetic field also appears. So here as you can see in figure 3b.15, you can see one loop of wire is there, okay. This is one circle of wire, a current carrying wire in which current I is flowing in anti-clockwise direction. You can see that it is in anti-clockwise direction, and because of what happened, the upper face will become North Pole and the lower face will become South Pole. Why is this so? If we see the loop from the upward direction, okay, it is anti-clockwise. Here you can see like this. So it will become North Pole. But from downward, when we will see, it behaves like the current is moving in clockwise direction. Okay. See, upper side is one side in which it is moving in anti-clockwise direction. So if we see the other side, we feel that current is moving in clockwise direction, and that's why the other side, the downward part of the loop, will behave like a South Pole. So here in a loop, when the current is flowing, we have two poles. On the upward side N pole, on the downward side S pole. So here we can say that current carrying loop can work as a magnetic dipole. And the strength of the magnetic dipole is given by current into area. If the number of turns in the coil is N, so we multiply N here. So M equals to NIA. In vector form, it can be written as vector M equals to NIA vector unit vector N, where this vector is showing the direction and these are the showing the magnitude of the dipole moment. The direction of M, that is the unit vector N, is perpendicular to the phase area and is given by the right hand screw rule. According to right hand screw rule only, we have the upward side as N pole and downward side as S pole. Now our next topic is atom as a magnetic dipole, or we can also say that revolving electron also behaves like a magnetic dipole. If we look at the structure of atom, we will find that at the center nucleus is there, which is having the positive charge, okay, because of proton, and around this proton, around this nucleus, what happened? The electron is revolving. Because electron is a charged particle, so when it revolves around the positive charge particle, what happened? One electric field will appear there, and because of that we will have magnetic field as well. So here around the nucleus one electron is revolving and in an orbit, and the radius of that orbit is r. Here you can see it is given by r. Okay, if electron is revolving in anti-clockwise direction, here you can see electron is revolving in anti-clockwise direction, so the direction of current will be in clockwise direction. Is it clear, student? The direction of current is in the opposite direction of flow of electron. So if here electron is moving in anti-clockwise direction, the current will be in clockwise direction. So for the upper phase, because of current is in clockwise direction, the upper phase will behave like South Pole and the lower phase will behave like North Pole. Okay, and this we have we know because of right hand screw rule. According to that rule, if the current is in clockwise direction, so that there the phase will be South Pole, that phase will be South Pole, and when the current is in anti-clockwise direction, that phase will be N pole. Students, please don't get confused. Okay, whatever phase will have which kind of pole, okay, S pole or N pole, that totally depends on the direction of current, not the direction of electron. And because the direction of current is opposite to direction of electron, so that's why here this phase will be S. Okay, here with arrow sign, don't be confused that here anti-clockwise motion is there, so this side should be N. No, here that anti-clockwise motion is of electron, not of current. Current is in clockwise direction because it flows in opposite direction to electron. So that's why upside will be S now and downside will be N. So here also we get one dipole because of motion of electron. The magnetic dipole M will therefore be directed vertically downward. The direction of magnetic dipole is from S to N pole. Okay, and upward direction is S pole, downward is N pole. So the direction of M will be from upward to downward. So vertically downward direction. Magnetic dipole moment associated with circulating current will be M equals to I into A. By putting the value I equals to E upon T, charge per unit time, into area pi r square, and time, when we put the value of time 2 pi r. Okay, so here we have rearranged this like this. So E pi r square upon 2 pi r into V. Okay, why this came here? Time is what? The formula of time is time equals to distance upon velocity. So total distance covered in one revolution is 2 pi r and velocity is v. Okay, when we put 2 pi r upon v, so we will go up here. Simply you understood that in place of t, we have put the formula distance upon velocity. Total distance here is 2 pi r in one revolution and velocity is v. When we put the value here, we get this type of equation. Pi cancel, 1 r cancel. So m, the dipole moment here is EVR upon 2. Then we also know that the angular momentum L equals to mvr. So m upon L equals to E upon 2m. If we divide this side by L, so this side will be divided by mvr. V and r get cancelled and we get this equation E upon 2m. Okay. So m equals to minus E upon 2m into L. Above equation show that orbital angular momentum of the electron is opposite in direction of the magnetic moment. You can see the minus sign here. Why this minus sign here? Because the direction of M and L are opposite to each other. Then from this equation, if we put the value of E and M, okay, the charge of electron and mass of electron, so the value of M upon L we get as 8.8 into 10 to the power 10 coulomb per kilogram. M upon L is called the gyromagnetic ratio for an electron. And this gyromagnetic ratio is very important. It has been asked in exams as well as in competitive exams also. So what is gyromagnetic ratio? The ratio of magnetic dipole moment and orbital angular momentum is called the gyromagnetic ratio and its value is 8.8 into 10 to the power 10 coulomb per kilogram. So this is it for today's lecture. See you in next lecture. Till then, goodbye, take care, do some productive work, and the most important thing, be healthy, be safe.